Merhabalar. Tekrar hoş geldiniz. Kongremizin ilk konferansını müsaadenizle açmak istiyorum. Birazcık zaman kaydı. O nedenle çok hızlıca başlamak istiyorum müsaadenizle. Bugün Yang Im-do hanımefendiyi dinleyeceğiz. Kendisinin çok etkileyici bir CV'si var. Özet olarak birkaç şey paylaşmak istiyorum tanımanız adına. Kore Bilim ve Teknoloji Enstitüsü'nde alanında dünyada bir ilk olan Kültür Teknolojileri Okulu'nda öğretim üyesi. Ağırlıklı olarak siber psikoloji, pozitif teknoloji kullanımı, ciddi oyunlar ve oyun kültürü üzerinde araştırmalar yapmakta, yayınlar yapmakta. Gelişmekte olan teknolojilerin olumlu potansiyelini ortaya çıkartmak ve disiplinler arası bir yaklaşımla psikolojik araştırma yöntemlerini kullanarak anlamlı oyun deneyimleri tasarlamak üzerine çalışıyor. İnsan potansiyelini genişleterek kullanışlı uygulamalar oluşturmak, insan davranışlarını, yaşam tarzlarını ve toplumu değiştirmeyi hedefliyor. Alanımızda çok ilgili, çok enteresan bir mecrada bilimsel faaliyet yürütüyor. Detayına girmeyeceğim ama değerli hocamızın literatüre de çok ciddi katkıları var. Bugün kendilerinden ergenlerde bilinçli akıllı telefon kullanımı için önleyici müdahale programları başlıklı konferansını dinleyeceğiz. Konferans yaklaşık 50 dakika sürecek. Daha sonra da soru cevap kısmı bir 5-10 dakika kadar alacağız. Müsaadenizle başlatmak istiyorum. Im-do, I would like to invite you for your presentation. Please, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone. My name is Yang Im-do. I really pleased to participate in Honorable Congress and have a chance to share our research progress, and we will discuss about our research endeavors after that Q&A session. Previous session, Dr. Griffiths mentioned about the very small portion of people in population is addict, and there are majority of people are not addicted. So the penetration of the technology advancement, we are considering about how can we handle this problem more wise ways. The one audience raised a question after his presentation, and how can we should do in this situation. So I will some clue and sharing our experience about that point. The smartphone penetration rate is very rapidly increased in the global level. From the 2011 and now we are observed that the 80 or 70% of global population enjoy and have the smartphone. Especially in Korea society is the cutting edge areas because our country people excessively adapting new technology and enthusiastic of really enjoying the technology advancement. This is the picture in our country, in South Korea, commuter using their mobile device on Seoul subways. Yesterday, I looked through in Turkish area in the subway station. We observed this similar phenomenon. However, the smaller portion of the people use smartphone. The other people talking about the other passengers and have the look for the books. but in Korean society, many people are using the smartphone in the subway, and anytime and anywhere and any place they are engaging in the smartphone using behavior. There is a two perspective, different approach based on the how can we look the smartphone using or technology using behavior. One approach is the addiction perspective, and another approach is the social cultural perspective. From the addiction perspective, many people or public view the internet, games, cyber, or smartphone as addiction. However, social cultural perspective, they view this phenomenon as a totally different way. It's the internet, game, cyberspace, or smartphone as a self-identification formation space, and their media culture. And the addiction perspective, adolescent cyber activities are harmful and useless. So internet online game or smartphone hinder daily lives or the lower grade due to the reduced activity or social capacity. So protection and blocking is the best policy. However, we have different perspective about the social cultural perspective of technology. The online space means totally different meaning for meaningful context to try out various possibilities of adolescent and opportunity to practice the construct identity, social relationships, and social capacity, and practical problem-solving skills, and the alternative way of lives. So in that perspective, providing the support to increase digital literacy and learn to balance between cyberspace behavior and real space behavior, and increase judgment ability to select valuable experiences is the best policy for the adolescent. Everyday life, adolescent smartphone use is very connected. They are meaningful activities, just as a socializing is some kind of shopping or some kind of fun or entertainment, and they are strolling about gathering useful information and enjoy music or chatting with friends and have a experience about something grown up, such as a dog or a fish or any kind of a plant. In the cyberspace, they are indirectly consuming or experience that kind of similar behavior because they are really want to this kind of activity in real lives. However, many adolescents, it's a very limited time and limited resource and limited money to all kind of wanted behavior. So in the cyberspace or smartphone using behavior, compensate for their desire to the more enjoyable life. However, the generation gap or digital divided or social divided of the culture, digital culture is give a chance to the conflict between the parents' generation and the younger generation. Because the younger generation really want to chat with friends in the smartphone and SNS. However, parents worry about that. Why are they immersed in that kind of behavior? And they don't want to talk about that, the meaning or value of their behaviors. So we will think about that, why preventive intervention from the perspective in terms of positive technology. We mentioned and we learned about the small portion of the minority is a victim of the addiction. However, 80 or 90% of majority will effectively use the technology. In that case, the technology using behavior is not a minority culture or subculture, but a majority culture or mass culture. So in that case, the mass culture's impact very wide, and important to the society. So we will learn more wise way to how can we handle this power or strength of technology to the more fruitful way and wise way in the society. I will introduce our research overview. We will first start the exploratory study in order to understand smartphone usage behavior of youth. There is a different group to enjoy the different motives or the different preferences. And second study, we understand parental mediation in the smartphone usage in family setting. I focused on the family setting because the first rule of the healthy behavioral habit is the responsible for the adolescent. However, adolescent is an ongoing process of developing, so they will need some support from the parents. So we will cautious about that. How can you make the effective way of healthy smartphone usage habit? We are consideration about first setting to support of atmosphere. So we are focused on the family setting. And we designed the intervention program and conduct a 3-week parent-child participatory workshop program. We are designed based on the exploration study result. After that, what is truly need for the parents and the adolescents, and how can you handle this kind of struggle or problems in everyday life, and how can we overcome the problems most wise ways. After that, we based on the look through the workshop, we will suggest a conceptual system activity architect, online and offline integrated service to promote healthy smartphone usage habit. First step is exploratory study. We will consider the realities and difficulties both parents and youth face while applying smartphone mediation to explore intervention point. The research method is 2 phenomenological studies in the form of a focus group interview and gathering and interpreting the subjective experience in daily lives. The first step is that we learn from the youth motive and preferences using the smartphone to profile smartphone users by understanding their needs and goals. We are a focus group interviewed with 20 youth and 5 smartphone usage behavior index conveying users' need and motivation, such as communication, entertainment, functional tools, and information search and life logging. After that, we are profiling different user groups. Analysis is different researchers make a discussion and consensus. What is the actually point of view of different smartphone user groups? We can find out the 3 smartphone user groups. The first type is a social fun seeking. The second type is a leisure activity seeking. And the third type is information seeking. The social fun seeking groups really like to the communication and they are entertaining. So user communication function is the most part of their behavior. So in that case, they are really need to the others' connection, praise, or recognition, and we really enjoy the communication with other people. And the leisure activity seeking group is the second chart. You can look the first prominent activity is entertainment. They are really use the entertainment functions such as YouTube or some kind of movie clips or webtoons or any other content to look through the enjoyment. And the third type of the information seeking group is really want to look through the information, knowledge, and the communication with other people. So there are different group will be enjoy the different pattern to the smartphone use in daily lives. Users have different intention for smartphone usage, so they reveal the distinctive usage pattern. The parents don't know about that because they are not communicate. What is the core activity in the smartphone and what does it mean for the youth? Just looking at the smartphone behavior and ask for the stop or quit. In that case, the youngsters do not explain about what is the true meaning of their smartphone using behavior. So when applying intervention strategy to preventive excessive smartphone use, we can think about just unilateral intervention method cannot satisfy users' different motivation. Because really like to friend, they are another alternative channel to meet or communicate with people. They really like to want information seeking. They have another channel to the information and gathering knowledge from the phone or other materials or other setting or environment. And really like for the entertainment, give a chance to go on the movies or theaters or have a chance to leisure activity. So totally different group need to totally different intervention strategy to their needs or desire for the consuming smartphone behavior. Therefore, appropriate intervention strategy should be applied to different smartphone user groups and specific usage motivation and behaviors. And second part of the focus group interview, we will meet the parents and the children to find the effective intervention point for parental mediation in digital media context to form adolescent healthy smartphone usage habit. So we are exploring what kind of happening in everyday life is a parent's mind and the youngster's mind. So 2 sessions of FGI is performed. One is the first 21 parents will gathering each other and discuss about what is the difficulties, what kind of a problem in confronted in everyday life with their adolescent children, and how can we control them or how can you manage them, what is effective endeavors and what is ineffective endeavors, and we can discuss about that. After that, we are gathering another child listen to their voice what is really want to the youngster's perspective to managing process of mediation. So for independent coders, repeatedly read the transcript and the interpretation about what kind of themes emerged in their focus group interviews. The result shows that parents are really concerned about the adolescents' health problem, safety problem, and social relationship or developmental issues. Many parents confronted in difficulty is the lack of understanding of youth media culture and the confusion in regulation selection, because one time too harsh to the quit. After that, another time it let go about the using behavior. So there is a fluctuation to what kind of standard will be effective. And the lack of adolescent responsibility just responds to the passive way or some kind of silence, or they do not talking about the parents because they do not understand me. So in that case, they faced everyday struggling or conflict in the family life. On the other hand, adolescents sought further mediation that allowed autonomous with least involvement from parents. Many parents set a rule, their own perspective, do not hear from the adolescent voice, and they are just follow me. So in that case, that kind of rules do not match for their expectations. So overall, mediation strategies that did not work were those applied without adolescent consensus. In most of the cases, the rules were set by parents which did not consider individual youth characteristics and family context. For example, during the online game playing, there is a team play process. In that case, there is a keep the time will be very important. However, the parents do not know about that fact. In that case, we have a time to eat or a time to sleep. But the adolescents do not agree with that because the purpose of the competition winning is very important for their own mind. In the case, it's a very struggling between this understanding about how can we manage of this kind of work. So through the session, the adolescent and parents realized that it's more need to understand each part perspective, and what is the true meaning, and what kind of activity involved in the adolescent smartphone using behavior. However, there were some limitations, and while parents contemplated on these issues for a period of time, it's 1 or 2 or 3 daughters and youngsters, and long time period they are concerning about this issue. How can you manage the children's SNS or some smartphone using behavior? However, youngsters do not concern about that, and they do not reflective thinking about their behavior, what kind of value added for them, and just have a quick response, and I am just doing, it's just fun, is explanation. So it will be need to how can you understand and increase the awareness about the parents' part and the adolescent part will be very important. So we suggest parent-child mutual rule shaping for digital media usage guideline for both youth and parents to reach common ground and increase autonomy of the adolescent. The first page of the exploratory study, the Prof Explorer case study were conducted to gain baseline knowledge about how can we manage this problem based on the everyday experience in the family setting. In the first study, explore how users use smartphone based on their motivations, and the second study explored the difficulties and parents and children faced in terms of mediation behavior. Through these 2 case studies, we can conclude that the personalized in considering different culture in the family life will be very important to intervening about the effective smartphone media intervention program. Furthermore, since applying intervention method is a process of interaction between adolescent and the parents, so a continuous negotiation will be important. However, they are lack of knowledge or capacity to how can we manage and negotiate with the adolescent children. So it will be needed to some knowledge or support to how can you handle these problems. Based on the finding, we will design the participatory workshop to learn or enlarge the digital literacy and make the relationship more effective way and communicate and negotiate and mutual reshaping. After that, and reverse, they are self-reflection through the session. They gain insight from the meaning of and value of their smartphone use behavior. The second page of a preventive intervention program is a 3 weeks program to intervening the parents and adolescents co-participating in the workshop period. The design and intervention program for parent-child diet to help teens the smartphone in healthy manner. So this is view of a preventive intervention program of ours. The first week session and second week session and third week session is a different purpose and value, and we are organizing different activity step by step. The first week session is a self-reflection on smartphone use, is the parents' part and adolescent part, and bridging differences between the parents and children is the discussion about how can they use the smartphone in every day. And in that case, we will sharing about understanding about property of a smartphone and the adolescent digital media usage culture, and deliver the digital literacy and self-awareness of individual of a core value related consuming smartphone using behavior. And we constructed activities reflect self-usage pattern and identify the meaning of a smartphone for self and compare each other's usage to make a common. In second week session, we have a mutual rule shaping workshop. So we will make some rules through the workshop session and understand about parents' opinion and the children's opinion and what kind of wish or want they have and how can you regulate to each other and how can we make the consensus between two perspective and how can you make the specific rule to finding out balancing about the everyday smartphone usage behavior. And third week session is we will try to keep the rules together and modify for better rules. In the 2 week session, make or construct a rule. After the third week session, we will review about the result. What kind of rules is kept very effectively and other rules didn't keep because what reason for the hinder of the keeping behavior. After that, we will have a chance, give a chance to negotiate different rules to set a more satisfied way to each other. More specific way explanation is the sampling is a purposive sampling method was used in case study. Recruit participate. The notice for recruiting for the workshop was posted on the internet bulletin board or education office or some kind of introduction to the acquaintance. It's some couple of parents and child really need to negotiate their difficulties in the family settings. So the parent-child couple that felt the need to find appropriate regulation for their household in the practice is a voluntary participation in these sessions. The first session is the activity design in the individual have different individuals, the parents and the adolescent look through. It's a one-day activity of they using the smartphone and list of the what kind of service or content or activity they really do. After that, they are waiting for the priority about their importance. So different people have a different using list about their priority. For example, this part is the parents' explanation, and this part is the adolescent explanation. They pick up and write down their core smartphone using behavior. After that statement is what is the positive effect in my life, and what is the negative effect in my life, and what is the problem or what is the benefit from the smartphone using behavior. It's write down their reflection. After that, parents and children discuss about that. It's a different parents and different children have a different way of thinking about their behavior. So we will have a second session. We will have an we will have another activity to setting the rule for our home. We will make the 13 different mediation rules in the card and delivered for the different family members, and have a choice about the different 3 cards is the parents' part and the children part. After that, why I pick up this kind of mediation rule, and then thinking about that the reason why they pick up. So after that, they show off each other and discuss about that among 6 cards, and that pick up the just 4 final cards. So it's the mother part and the children part. They suggest different 6 cards. After that, finally pick up the 4 cards to keep up the rule in the digital media using behavior. For example, is the digital media using behavior in the family members all together, or digital media experience and activity will be communicated in my family. Well, the reduced media using time, after that we will get into the go walk for the some kind of exercise or some kind of a hobby. That is alternative activity to keep the rule. After that, we will have some period of 1 week. We will thinking about that issue is easily keep the rules, or it is very difficult rule to keep. And the participatory workshop session 3 is we are reflected about individual family effectiveness about past week's trial and co-settling smartphone using rules. The prepared rules in the old families is such as items, for example, reduce digital media usage time and enjoy hobby, or practice exercise, or co-enjoy with family members using digital media, and talk with the family members about the digital media activity and experience, and do not use a smartphone in bed. It can be voluntarily pick up the opinion, so it will be more keep. It's a restrictive way to parents' party suggestion. However, after 1 week, we will find the well-kept rule and the broken rules. The well-kept rules is such as do not use smartphone in bed. In that case, more specified rules, so it will be followed more easy way. However, broken rules, we will look through why these kind of rules do not kept or cannot kept. Is that kind of a sample is the reduced digital media usage time and enjoy hobby or exercise. In that case, the hobby or exercise is more abstract and more do not specify the activity itself. So they are trying to have a time. However, what can I do in the spare time? So it will be needed to more specify the activity design will be needed to implement it more satisfy the rules. And another case is a long-lasting family communication pattern. It's related to rule because it could not be changed easily. So many people many family they are communication very lesser than 1 hour. It's another trial and error about really talking about I have an experience in the smartphone or some kind of movie clips, and talking about and try out about the experience. However, the parents' part is why my children this kind of talk to me. So in that case, it's very difficult to break the old pattern of the communication in the family setting. So based on the 3 weeks workshop and preventive intervention program, we will finding a tentative result. It's the first, in order to trust each other and communicate, parents need to understand the teens' digital culture. The parents' perspective, it can be a very harmful or addictive behavior. However, youngsters felt that it is a new area or new setting or new space for their construct identity or forming the relationship and show off their ability in the social settings. So totally different meaning to attach to the using behavior. And in addition, ambiguous perspective on the digital media consumption made parents more worried about that their teens leading some of troubles in the space. So they are automatically first mediation lose with led conflict. And second, when parents solely chose mediation strategies, in that case, that kind of rule cannot be satisfied with the children's or adolescent part, so they could not keep it. So negotiation and continuous negotiation will be needed to communicate each other. And third, teens should also be proactive media consumer. Many teens enjoy their smartphone usage behavior. However, when I ask for the why are you really enjoying it, they didn't explain that way. So it will, they do not have the reflective thinking about what kind of meaning and value of their activity or immersion. So in that case, we give a chance to educate what is the true meaning of their behaviors and what kind of value attached, and how can we wisely select more helpful behavior to protect them or enlarging their capacity or support their individual achievement. And lastly, digital media rules are not fixed. Both parents and teens should be aware that mediation rules continuously changing, setting by setting or situation by situation. So more fluid understanding and approach will be needed to keep more better than a rigid way. So summary of a preventive intervention program is 3 different activities. First is professional help from facilitators, and second is the provision of a safe negotiation setting differ from the family. In the family setting, it's very difficult. It's old custom or rules is dominated. So in another safe setting will give a chance to the more free way to talking about their problem and the inner feeling or conflict in their mind. And the third activity is a provision of opportunity for self-reflection. The self-reflection is very important to start. How can we balance about their activities? So in this kind of work, the first professional help from facilitator is 2 different activities. For one step is the digital literacy education. It's important knowledge or information will be delivered for the parents and adolescents. And provision of structured activities such as a mutual reshaping of their activities. And the provision of safe negotiation setting is we will have a chance to give an open conversation and exchange about the expectation from each other and allow formation of sympathy with each other. And another family, we will compare and experience sharing about what kind of effective experience and other case of very hinder or very struggling experience. And we will have a more objective perspective about these problems. And the final activity is activity reflection. For example, self-monitoring or activity tracking is possible. However, offline setting is very limited for the time, just 3 weeks, and the space is a very small group is participate possible. So limited number of dyad can participate per session, and activity conducted outside of the session cannot be clearly monitored. So it's some kind of dropout, and giving opportunity feedback can be difficult in offline session, and difficult to make objective self-reflection. And long session can reduce the overall self-motivation and could end as a one-time trial session. So based on our observation and workshop, we suggest some kind of a preliminary guideline for the how can you manage this kind of difficulties in the family setting. One is the many family usually use the time-based usage plan. So it's 24 hours per day. They spirit about the study and smartphone use behavior and game per 2 hours per day. However, it cannot be kept because they are really want and different preferences for each adolescent. So we will need to understand each individual's value and goal-oriented usage plan. So one adolescent, it is a case, is one adolescent, his dream is a computer programmer. So in that case, is a smartphone using behavior is a support a career development or knowledge building effort based on the many kind of resources. So they have choose their activity priorities such as coding practice or mathematics support basic knowledge or gameplay to understand consumers' behavior and satisfaction point, or the SNS have a chance to the peer group relationship. So help adolescents to reflect the value and meaning of their smartphone usage activity, and instead of planning a day with a time unit, in arrangement daily activity by value and life priority. And consider how the present smartphone usage is connected to the future life. It's a part of a conclusive summary. It's the first step we were struggling in everyday life, family and adolescent conflict in the smartphone using behavior. And how can we reduce conflict around the adolescent smartphone use? It's after the series of case study and workshop session, we make some evolving process model of a parent-child conflict around adolescent smartphone use. Precondition states many parents have anxiety and concern. So they are worried about the teens' lowered grade, poor health, or problematic smartphone use. And lack of understanding of the teens' smartphone usage behavior and digital culture is a hinder from the communication with the adolescent. And by contrast, the child or adolescent part, they are really want, because lack of alternative activity or lack of resources, they really enjoy an efficient way to time managing in the smartphone. And teens' developmental characteristics really want to autonomy from the parents and connected to the peer groups. In that case, it can be a strengthen or the reinforcing places to smartphone usage behavior. And individual teens' characteristic, their personality or level of self-control is motivation for smartphone usage very different. So in the process, the mediation do not concern about the adolescent needs or desire or precondition and reinforcing process or mechanism. It can be failure and provoking the conflict, continuous conflict. So we will need to knowledge transfer to increase parents and adolescents the awareness about their self-reflection and communications, rule shaping, and responsible smartphone usage behavior and knowledge transfer will be very important. And consequence, healthy smartphone usage behavioral habit will be formed. So we will suggest in different online and offline support system to adolescent healthy smartphone usage behavior. It's one type is a knowledge support, it's a second type of relational support, and third type is social support, and fourth type is cultural support. Knowledge support will be linked to the digital literacy behavior and self-reflection. And we can give online, give a chance to some kind of test or some kind of reflection tool is possible. And relational support, we will support the communication or negotiation ability to how can you manage the conflict in the family life, and how can we make more mutual shaping rules. And the social support is many family is agony from their own difficulty is their fault. However, this is a societal change, and dramatic change will be emerged in the global level. It's many families is a common conflict or the problems in the family life. We are sharing about experience and wise solution will be emerged from the conversation. And the cultural support is many adolescents insist that we only like to the actual real life leisure or hobby. However, there is a very limited space, limited time, limited resources. So in that case, they are just efficient way to enjoy life in the smartphone usage behavior. So many community aware about that. It's a really important adolescent is a very diverse cultural opportunity or resources to support their growth of the period. So we will need and channeling about the information about how can we manage these problems. So this is a vision for healthy media usage culture. The adolescent problem is not adolescent itself. Adolescent will be a future generation. So we will cautious about that. The result or effect of adolescent behavior is our future of society. So individual level, we can give a knowledge support, and family level, we can make a relational support based on the communication or negotiation capacity. And community level, we are sharing about the difficulty experience and wise strategy to handle this kind of problem. And the societal level, we can have a multi-layered resource support is possible to channeling of each other and sharing of experience more wise way, hinder of this problem. More and more, the technology embedded society is emerging in the next step, such as the AI or robot or some kind of Internet of Things or many kind of technology embedded life condition. We'll be cautious about that. How can you manage more wise way? And how can we deal with this problem more effective way or more healthy way? So it will be start point, I think so. We will look through of our behavior and how can we manage of this problem more easy and wise way to communicate different stakeholders and different communities. Really thanks for your listening and have a chance with a 3 minutes Q&A session.
We also thank you, Simdo, for this great presentation. Maybe we can take a few questions. Birkaç dakikalık bir vaktimiz kaldı. Soru alabiliriz. Buyursunlar.
Ben her şeyden önce çok teşekkür ederim bu güzel sunumdan dolayı. Ben yardımcı doçent Doktor Davut İbrahimoğlu. 2 tane sorum vardı. Biri sorusu bu ki kaç kişi üzerinde bu araştırma yapıldı? Bunu merak ediyorum. İkincisi, biz okulda böyle bir kurallar kurmaya çalışıyoruz ama netleşmedi. Bu kongre süresinde bize kurallar, bu tecrübeye dayanarak kurallar listesi verme imkanınız var mı? Teşekkür ederim.
give me a presentation file? The sampling is very small and convenient because it's 3 weeks per 2-hour session. Every week they are participate in long time. So it is very difficult to recruit from the dietic parents and children's participation. So there is some kind of maybe 11 case participation of parents and children. So we will get some insight from their small case of analysis and deep discussion about the process of their needs and desire. There is a different 13 card deal with the make the sample rule. For example, is a reduce digital media usage time, enjoy hobby, or reduce digital media usage time, practice exercise, or co-enjoy with family members using digital media, and talk with family members about digital media activity and experiences, and then do not use smartphone in bed. This kind of activity is listed on 13. In addition, we have some kind of blank sheet. So the many parents or adolescents want to write down their own rule and pick up that card. So the basic standard rule of their behavioral list to keeping the rule. After that, allow to the freedom to choose their own behavior.
Son bir soru varsa almak isterim. Buyursunlar. Buyurun. Mikrofon verebilir miyiz?
Teşekkür ediyoruz hocamıza. Nuray Sevinç rehber öğretmen olarak çalışıyorum. Hem öğrencilerle hem velilerle çalışıyoruz. Çalışmanız ergenlerin akıllı telefonu bilinçli kullanımı üzerine ve velilerle çalışmışsınız. Ama artık akıllı telefonlar sadece öğrencilerde değil, velilerde de var. Özellikle bu çalışmanızda velilerin akıllı telefonları bilinçli kullanımı konusunda sıkıntıları varsa bu programın etkililiğini ne kadar etkiler bunu sormak istedim. Çünkü sadece hani öğrenciler üzerinde, veliler, ergenler üzerinde bu çalışılmış, etkililiği araştırılmış. Velilerin bu düzeyi ya da bilinçli kullanımı olumsuz olarak etkiler mi? Ya da bilinçli kullanıyorlarsa programı olumlu olarak etkiliyor mu? Biraz bunu öğrenmek istiyorum. Teşekkür ediyorum.
Acaba bu örneklemdeki çocuklar, ergenlerin, ebeveynlerinin kullanımıyla bir ilişkili, anlamlı bir ilişki var mı? Benzerlik gösteriyorlar mı?
Okay. Can you show me the page? It is the missing of the full table. It's just a case table. They are mentioned about the priority about their usage behavior. For example, the parents really like the TV use or the SNS because they are really linked to their work or the convenient way to gathering the information. However, in the adolescent part, they really like the fun or enjoyment or sharing the news for the peer groups. So totally different motive will be connected to the same usage behavior. So we will need to understand parent part is more like they view those SNS as a functional tools. However, adolescent is really like to this tool as a self-expression and the tool for social supporting or a tool to entertaining. So some different connotation will be connected to that. And some kind of a negative or positive expectation or negative or positive experiences is based on parents. Many parents really like to SNS and many amount of time consuming in this platform, using the movie clips and reading the books and all they listening to music based on the smartphone. And however, they are worried about they use usual way. However, many public is criticize technology using behavior as an addiction. There's some inner conflict is what is healthy or unhealthy, and struggling about how can you balance. And sometimes the parents will be should be a role model for their children. However, they felt the difficulty, their own regulation about the smartphone. In that case, they cannot set a rule or a standard for the good role model for the adolescents. So in that case, many parents wanted to, how can you manage my own smartphone using behavior? And another part, adolescent insisted that I really like to meet a friend. I really like to the football in the playground, and I really like to the extra work or extracurricular to creating something. However, there is a very limited time. In Korean society, it's a very competitive atmosphere in the school. Grading is very important purpose to enter the university. In that case, many leisure or cultural or hobby activity is forbidden for the adolescent. In that case, they are really deprivation about the cultural resources and have felt lonely or disconnected or some kind of disconnected with their peer group. In that case, they have an alternative way to connect the peer or connect the entertainment or connected to the enjoyable life. So we will understand about the situation, about understand the adolescent part. It can be satisfies your question.
Thank you very much, Simdo. Teşekkürler. Saat 14'e kadar oturuma ara veriyoruz.